Welcome to Premier Sports Talk. We are live in the studio, bringing you the sports talk show for the people. Let's dive in.
Hello, and good day to everybody. I'm Double P, host of Premier Sports Talk, and we got an exclusive live interview from the one and only, the new head coach for the Cleveland Browns, Coach Todd Monken. Coach Todd Monken is speaking to us on this Friday. He's being interviewed up there, bringing an exclusive interview Friday morning at 8 o'clock up there in Cleveland on 92.3 The Fan, and I'm very interested to hear what he has to say, especially after Mary Kay broke out some supposedly source news that Deshaun Watson is supposed to be ahead in the QB1 battle. So we're going to hear from Coach Todd Monken himself, because I am pretty sure that question is going to be asked. So do me a favor, whenever you come into the chat, all comments are welcome. Todd Monken's about to come up here any minute now. Let me know what state you in. And my ears is glued, my eyes are wide open on this Friday morning, so I'm so wanting to hear Todd Monken on what he has to say. Hey, and while we sitting here waiting for Todd Monken to pop up here, let me know in the chat who you want to be your QB1. Who do you want to be your QB1? There he goes, y'all.
NFL season, Coach, thanks for joining us.
Appreciate you having me.
You can watch him live on YouTube, 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. First off, how do you feel after the draft?
Fantastic.
Did you find it odd that you were asked if you got the best offensive lineman in the draft, considering he was the first offensive lineman off the board in the draft?
For sure, we feel like we got the best offensive lineman in the draft. And it was,
I would imagine.
And I said it afterwards, that how cool was it that we were able to trade back and get two other picks and still get the player that we were looking to take, when we were drafting at 6.
I'm hearing a lot of good things. I thought the first 2 days, I was just so excited, so surprised about how it fell to us in the first 2 days. And then day 3, Parker Brailsford's a guy that you guys are really excited about, this center out of Alabama. Can you tell us a little bit more about him?
Well, I think if you get beyond the size, I think that's the sticking point for some teams. He falls below the line in terms of size that they want.
Mm-hmm.
For us, I don't see it that way. I think Tyler Linderbaum was not the biggest center, and he just got $27 million per year. We like athleticism. If you turned on the tape from last year and you didn't know it, it wasn't an issue. Now, there'll be some things, obviously, if you get a zero nose and you're playing some odd teams, it's not ideal, but there's ways of working around that, and we were jacked to get him when we did.
Coach, your role in the draft room, I know there was an embedded reporter that was kind of laying out, what you were saying at times. I'm sure not all of it was something you wanted everybody to be privy to, but just you getting to be in these rooms over the years, how has your role evolved from, hey, you're an offensive coordinator, to now the head guy, the head coach, and how much were they leaning on you?
Well, the role changed before the draft more than during the draft, I would say. At that point, Andrew's making the selection. That's what he's paid to do. I mean, he's the general manager. Would he run things by me and say, hey, this is what I'm thinking? Or I'd say, what are you thinking? We're 5 picks out. What are you thinking here? Well, we're thinking this. If not, we're going to make this trade. We're going to do this. What I was super impressed with was how proactive Andrew is, one way or the other, moving back, moving up, talking to other teams. Him and his team that were a part of it was very impressive. I've been in other rooms, and I thought it was as well done as anywhere I've been. And it fell the right way in terms of, for us, in terms of what we were hoping, the picks that we got. And doesn't always work out that way, but it was great when it did.
Well, to even have a rival exec and someone you work with like Eric DaCosta lavish praise on what the Browns did And I thought it was also interesting. I mean, you're there, and you've been in other rooms or you've seen it. This seemed like a Wall Street simulation. What can you tell people about the outfit, Andrew Berry and everybody being able to put together something like that goes through every single scenario when it comes to trade downs? I think people would be amazed to think about how sophisticated this system was.
Well, each team does it a little bit differently. But I would say this, that I think not only with the place I was before in Baltimore and also here, what you see is you're trying to eliminate anxiety. That's all you're trying to do. Is you've already in a lot of ways set the board how it would, who you would take if it felt a certain way. Now the only part of that is in the trades that comes in that changes the landscape. If nobody ever traded, it would be easy to just fall like, all right, I'm picking this. But
These
when the
questions
landscape
are
changes,
massaging Coach
I
Monk.
think, Andrew and his guys did a great job
They just let
working
them come
through
before they
the
start
other
dropping these
scenarios
bait
that
questions.
led to the picks that we ended up with.
And then what is it like
Coming,
having
y'all, it's coming.
the top guy in the room next to you, Jimmy Haslam?
Oh, it was really cool. I realized I was the head coach. I mean, I'm right next to the owner, and in between the general manager, I guess that's what I do. I'm the head coach. But really at that moment, besides a sounding board, I was just there for the fist bumps and second guy on the phone. That was really what I was there for. And again, that's their job. And I've said it a million times.
They waiting to drop the
just like
powerbomb
Andrew's going to
question.
trust what we do on 4th and 1, we're going to trust the picks that he makes. And now it's up to us to develop the players.
And Shedeur.
Do you think, Todd Monken joining us in studio, how important
just warming them up
is play calling? And the reason I ask it is because in my world, okay, if you win, you will get zero credit. We won't even think about
this live feed. Get
you lose, there will be call after call about what you did on third down. Now, we're just watching on Sundays. He knows, I know, there's a lot of things that goes into that the general public doesn't know. So on the base of everything, how important is play calling during a game?
Well, my wife always says, why don't you just call the plays that work? Seems so simple. Why would you ever call plays that don't work? Which I would agree with that. It's more fun that way. I think where it really becomes critical, just like I would say even in the draft, is when the landscape changes. Mm-hmm. Just like in the draft, trade proposals, making decisions, when the landscape changes in a game, whether it's situational, 2-minute, 4-minute, are you going to go for it? Are you not? When are you going to run a trick play? When are you going to take chances? I think that's when it comes up. Calling rundown plays, I mean, I'm calling it off the sheet. I mean, there's variances of what you're going to call run pass. They're all on there. We all think they're pretty good.
Friday morning.
To me, it comes down to
hit that like button.
Reminding yourself touches.
I appreciate it.
Who you want to get the ball to. That can certainly get, you can get clouded, looking at the whole call sheet of who you need to get the ball to. So I think it's important. I think it's a little bit overblown. Because if you've got good players and you've done a great job during the week in your preparation, so the players and you've created a system that lets their talent shine, I think that's really the most critical part of it is during the week and developing a system and getting really good players. So then Sunday is just a byproduct of the work you put in.
You've been a play caller, you've been an offensive coordinator a long time, and I know you've been a head coach before, okay? But I think I've seen in some cases around the league where guys, they go from offensive coordinator to head coach, and they sometimes get caught maybe not managing the game maybe the way they should. You're in the area where you go from yards and points to like, hey, I got defense and special teams. I got to take care of each other here. How do you plan on balancing that on a Sunday as the head coach now?
No, it's certainly a challenge. There's no way around it. I still find myself every now and then referring to myself like I'm the offensive coordinator. You just do. When I'll say like it's like, well, hell, I'm in charge of it all. And ultimately, I'm now in charge of winning. When you're a coordinator, you're in charge of scoring or stopping them. When you're a position coach, you're in charge of developing your position room. That's it. The winning is now solely on the head coach. Mm-hmm. So that is a part of it. I've already been through it for 3 years at Southern Miss. So we're going to find out.
Todd Monken, head coach of the Browns, in studio with us. When somebody new takes over, whether it's a college program or the NFL, they got to make it their identity. They got to build this in their identity. Is there something, and this doesn't have to be a dig at who's been here before, but is there something you came in immediately and said, I want to do it this way, and I'm going to make this my own, whether it's something accountability, whether it's a messaging, whatever it is there something to put the Todd Monken stamp on the Cleveland Browns?
Well, first off, I have a ton of respect for Kevin Stefanski. He is a fantastic football coach. You don't get to be a head coach in the NFL and not be a fantastic football coach. An identity is a little bit strong. I've said it before that I think I've said this a ton of times, but I really believe this. As much as I love winning and I hate losing, I despise crappy football. And I just think that it's just such a bad look for coaching. It just is. You look dumb as a coach when you put bad football on the field. You want it to look like you want it to look like. If we ran power 62 plays in the game, they might be pissed off that we ran power 62 times. But if it looks like that's our identity and we're going to be a physical team and it looks like you want it to look like, you can live with it. But when you go out there and if you're jumping off sides, you have 10 on the field, you got 12 on the field. Quarterback has anxiety at the line of scrimmage. Guys are going the wrong way. That's an indictment on coaching.
Bless the channel. Hit that like button. So
that's the starting
on the YouTube algorithm.
You want to give yourself a chance.
Appreciate it.
And that's
drop your thoughts.
Give yourself a chance.
After the
More games are lost than they're won. And that's the starting point for us as a team.
Todd Monken joining us in studio right now. So I want to, again, clarify, and I think you've said this before, you do want to have a starting quarterback on your team that you know is on your depth chart, number one, before training camp, correct?
Would love to.
Okay, you would love to. You're not necessarily stuck in cement on that idea then.
Well, I would love to have that. I'm not there yet, so I can't say that.
Awesome.
We've been on the field 3 practices, which was awesome to get out there with our players. I was talking to Carson yesterday. He said, feels so weird that we got from phase 1 to get on the field, and then now we're back off for 3 weeks. But it's always changing based on what you see. I don't have a history with any of our players. I know where this is heading. But I don't have a history with any of the players. They're all external to me. Just like when I interviewed coaches for the coordinator position, there was no internal candidates. I wasn't here. They're all external to me. So all the players are external other than Tylan Wallace, who was with us. So at the point is what I've seen after 3 days, okay, that gives us a little bit of a 40,000 foot view of where we're at, but that can change. Heck, once we get back on the field for 4 weeks at the end of this spring, we'll have a better idea then. But there's only so many reps you get. You've got to start to target towards who's going to start opening day. And now that can still change. And that can change even if someone's getting 2/3 of the rep to someone getting 1/3 of the reps, because you're still going to play preseason games. You're still going to want to see those guys at quarterback and see how they play.
Why is it important for the rest of the team to figure out who that guy is before training camp actually starts?
I think you're talking about our players.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's important for them to have an idea of the identity of the team and have a belief in whoever that is. Ultimately, the ball's in that player's hands every down. So, and you're going to come down to 4-minute, 2-minute end of game scenarios. You have close games every week, a belief system that this guy's going to take us to the promised land, which is starting with a winning team, winning the division, right? Winning a Super Bowl, all those things. I don't think players care. I just think they want to know who's going to give us the best chance to win. Who do we believe in that's going to give us the best chance to win? Because through all the money and all of that, there's nothing like the feeling in the locker room when you win. And I think that's what players still crave, to be a part of winning and to be able to wear your Browns gear with pride. Hey, I'm a Cleveland Brown.
You know, before a big trial, a judge will instruct the jury. You got to be impartial. You got to delete anything you might have heard about this case. Get it out of your mind. Can you possibly do that and be that objective when it comes to two quarterbacks, both very, very famous dudes? Everything that Deshaun Watson has been through and the stuff he's put on tape 6 years ago and stuff he's put on tape with the Cleveland Browns over the last how many years? And then Shedeur and everything that comes along with Shedeur Sanders. Can you possibly be that objective?
Well, I think there's levels of being objective. I mean, I'm not Patrick from SpongeBob. I don't live under a rock. I mean, I sit there and I hear things, I see things. You're part of that. But I've learned over the years in coaching is your job is
produce the best
let
product.
Let it play itself out. I said that many of times, like, I'm going to let
The player.
all of the students take the test.
Mm.
You know, I'm not going to walk in the classroom and before they even take a test, I'm going to observe the students and give them a grade based on what? How they look, how they dress, like nationality, male, female. My job is to let it play out. And sometimes players have they have a fresh start is maybe the best way to put it, or a different style or a different system. So it's my job to do that. And to me, it's the only way. Now you can be so, again, I would just say there's levels of being objective, right? There's levels where you're like, okay, I believe this player has something more in there, or there's others where I'm just going to be stubborn and say, no, this isn't it. This isn't the direction we're going. And I think that's unfair to every player. I don't care. I know we're talking about quarterbacks, but I'm talking just in general with the players is it's our job to put the best players on the field to give us a chance to win. And how are we going to do that? By being objective.
Well, Ken lectured me earlier today and said the internet isn't real. And so I see when I come in today, a Browns international headlines like Shedeur Sanders, sexist comment draws backlash, tells Browns reporter to go make a sandwich. How can you make sure to disassociate any of that stuff with a very serious competition that you are having? Because, everybody has a platform now and everybody's weighing in on every decision. We had it happen with the prior coach. How can you make sure that that stuff doesn't bleed into what you guys are doing?
Well, we were talking about on the ride up here. First off, I think it's awesome. I mean, it's why we get paid so much. I mean, we get paid so much because fans care and you talk about it. If it wasn't talked about, I sure as hell wouldn't get paid what I get paid. So that's part of what we do. But if that's going to bother me or it's going to bother Shedeur or Deshaun, they have no chance of being either the head coach here or the quarterback at the Cleveland Browns. I mean, for God's sakes, it's the world we live in. I think someone told me years ago that if the president has a 55% approval rating, he's killing it. Well, fine. That comes with the territory of what we do. And ultimately, what we do on the field is what matters most. And I said it, and there's more to it than just saying, but it really is. You want to stop the narrative? Play well. Want to stop a narrative? Win. It's really that simple. Now, there's more that goes into that because I got scrutinized by just saying, oh, winning. I know there's more to it. I get that. But ultimately, that's what it is. It's any narrative.
But you don't have to talk to anybody about that stuff, making sure that stuff doesn't enter into a psyche or, hey, I kind of don't want family members saying this type of stuff because, we've got our football team to worry about. Do you have to address the team at all about that kind of stuff?
No. I don't. That's a man making a comment on social media. That's someone reporting
freedom of speech,
something they believe. That's their opinion. Fine. Not my opinion. I didn't say that. Our daily inner workings with the quarterbacks and the players is going to mean more than what is said outside of there. Ultimately, do I believe that our players look at social media? Of course. Do I? Yes. I mean, do most of us? Yes. That's the world we live in. But ultimately, with the players,
I like Todd Monken.
I think that has changed over the last few years of how do you get your players to deal with things that are being said about them,
to the
good or bad.
Noise.
How do you manage that?
Truthful.
I think that is a real challenge. But ultimately, like I said, that's going to be what defines you. Then you're going to struggle to be either the head coach, be an offensive coordinator, or be our quarterback.
Todd Monken joining us in studio, head coach here at Cleveland Browns. So last week you mentioned 2019 with us during the draft. I know from an NFL Films clip I saw you mention 2019. I didn't ask you to rip anybody from 2019, all right? I mean, if you want to, fine, go ahead. What do you plan on doing different, though? Because I know 2019 bothers you. That was supposed to be a real good football team, and it wasn't. What do you plan on doing differently?
Well, it's a different staff. It's a different moment in time than then.
If you're enjoying this live exclusive interview,
again, I owe a lot to Freddie for hiring me. And Freddie Kitchens is a good football coach.
Hit that like button.
We just didn't do it well collectively, myself included.
Drop any comment.
We just didn't do it well enough. And the players. But we had talent. And we were at a position where with the right group, we could have ascended. I really believe that. But it was close. And then there's been some ups and downs since then. And I really, truly believe in when I took the job and I talked to Jimmy and J-Dub and Andrew, I think we're in a position now, if we can stack another draft together,
10 toes down,
I think we can really start to ascend.
New Cleveland.
And I believe that in my heart. I believe when I took the job that we're at the point now where I think we can get back on track, stack drafts together.
It'll all play out.
And then, because really it's about draft, develop, and coach better. The last part's the coaching better. But you got to draft really good players, and we got to develop the heck out of them. No one gets a ready-made roster.
Let me know what state.
And then we've got a coach. We've got to stay on the cutting edge.
This is live.
What's going on in the business?
I'm Double P.
And give yourself a chance every week by playing great.
Interview this Friday morning.
All right, I got one more quarterback question for you. This is different, though. How do you plan on making Taylon Green? Because we actually got in a shouting match with each other on Monday over Taylon Green.
So you're saying a shouting match was only on Monday? It feels like it's kind of commonplace here when you guys get into like a little bit of a shouting match.
What time are you driving in together?
I was just driving in earlier, and I heard you guys.
But you see YouTube.
So I don't know how we discern between what days are shouting and what days aren't. But okay, I cut you off.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
His face turns different hues of red.
Yeah, exactly.
Depending on the threat level of the discussion.
I get the same way, so I appreciate that.
I see 6'6", monstrous athlete, okay? And I'm going, well, he's drafted as a quarterback in the 6th round. I don't give a damn. He's a quarterback. He starts off a quarterback. Well, I got the head coach in front of me here. How do you plan on mixing this guy into the offense? Because this is a hell of an athlete we're talking about here who can do a lot of different things for you. And I know it's like, hey, he's got to make the team, then we got to figure it out. But how do you plan on getting him acclimated to the offense, getting him acclimated to the football team, everything?
Well, you nailed it. How do we get enough reps to assess where he's at? That's the hard part. But in the 6th round, there was a lot to like with this player. His character, his work ethic, his athleticism, how far he's come as a thrower. Number of people stood on the table for him. So now, first things first, let's see where he's at in terms of command of the offense, command of, okay, what skill set he has that is his superpower. I wouldn't say that it's running yet because I haven't been around him. You would say that, boy, he's athletic, he's fast, he can do some things with his legs. Let's see where he's at. The real challenge is in a given practice is how are you going to tailor to what he does when initially you just want to see what he has. That makes sense. So the reps he's going to get may not play to his strengths per se because you want to see what you have as a complete player. Then organically you'll see some of the athleticism. And then when we get to that point, you'll call it accordingly or you'll script it accordingly in practice, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because you won't – we're going through that now with Dillon Gabriel. He's a lefty. Like when I'm scripting, in my mind, I have to think, well, there's certain things we do with the right-handed quarterback, certain things you have to do with a left-handed quarterback. But in the early parts, you're just trying to see what they have. We're already going through that with Dillon because he's lefty and a righty and certain throws. And so we'll have to do that with the young man we drafted.
But you talked about character, and it seemed like reading a lot of the reporting, the orange dot, the prevalence of that, making sure to really identify the guys that are good character, could be great for the culture. Is that really important for a first-year head coach in establishing a culture? Because we know in the NFL, can't all be choir boys, right? And so you got to take some chances here and there. but it seemed like this draft was definitely highlighted with a bunch of orange dots.
Well, if you're looking at football character and then work ethic character and then off the field issues, there's almost like talent, how they work, and then off the field. There's like three pieces to this. And so what would you love?
Like button.
Obviously, everybody's looking for big, fast, physical, smart, tough, works his rear end off, got a great family, already married, got 2 kids, goes home at night, watches the Voice. Hell, I don't know. But with their wife. But that doesn't always work. But you'd love to have great football character along with the work ethic that allows them to develop faster. The self-awareness of where they're at as a player, where they want to get to, able to set goals, right? Has a coach-me-coach mentality that embraces coaching, correction, fighting everything that gets in the way of winning football, be that individually or collectively as a team. The more guys you get on the team that feel that way and work in that direction, to me, the better off you're going to be.
All right, I know we gotta get you out of here soon. You got a lot of stuff on your schedule, like getting ready for the Derby. Did you ever know that your love of horses is what may have tipped all of us off in the first place, that you would be the head coach? Listen to this. You're going to tell me that the Kalshi markets are going to be swayed just because someone's horses are going to be boarded here?
What is that?
Todd Monken.
Stop beating around the bush.
Is right now the favorite, but it's close.
You're doing slippery wizard things.
All I know is this. Todd Monken is an owner of multiple horses, and the horse community right now is talking. And boy, are they talking.
And then Lima said that you were basically, there's no basically about it. He said you were getting the job because he talks to horse people.
If that was the only reason I got the job,
no, that's not the
I've been
reason
going
you got
about this the wrong way. I mean, I should have been owning more horses. And I will give you a funny story, though. So when I'll get back to the horses. So I'm at Georgia, and the season ends. We win a second national championship, and I had gotten to be good friends with, and my wife had, with the basketball coaches, Tom Crean and Steve McLean. My wife, Terry, had gotten to be good friends with their wives. Well, it just worked out that Tom Crean's wife is a Harbaugh.
Okay.
So Ravens let go of, Greg Roman.
Mm-hmm.
It couldn't have been a day or two later, and Joni Crean, Harbaugh, calls my wife and says, would Todd be interested in the Ravens job?
Oh, wow.
Well, I'm going to call John and tell him this is the guy he's got to hire.
Wow.
And I'm thinking, man, I've been going about this all wrong. I mean, I just put my wife out there, getting no wives, and give myself a chance at some of these jobs. But that is a true story.
Wow.
That it started off with, not that I hadn't been in the NFL, not that John would have known who I am, but I'll be damned if it wasn't, my wife and Joni Crean's relationship that started it and got me an opportunity. So now the next job I get is because of the horse people, which I think is awesome. And Shedeur got me that horse, which had nothing to do with horse racing. I still have no idea. He said he just liked it, wanted to just send me a gift, I guess, for my birthday. And it's still sitting up there amongst the helmets. So, but I don't think it had anything to do with horse racing.
How many horses you have?
I don't have any now, which is really sad.
You got rid of the horses?
Well, I did. Well, eventually we sold the last one we had, which was a really nice filly. But eventually we got rid of it with the idea of her becoming a brood mare. And it was time to just get rid of her. I didn't have a big piece of it, but it was an expensive horse. But I started back in horse racing when I got here in 19 with Matt Shire, a trainer out of Louisville. He's boarded at Churchill Downs. He's from the area, played basketball in the area. And I started then. So it's really been a 7-year deal off and on with thoroughbreds. And so I really enjoy it. Game plan. So it's just a hobby that I have that I enjoy. And everybody has something that they enjoy, whether it's fixing the yard or woodworking or golfing. And I like horse racing.
That is okay. I'm glad just got rid of the horse because you were just getting rid of the horse. I didn't want you to get rid of the horse. Like, you people can't keep a secret, so I can't keep the horses here or anything like that. I'm glad that was the reason.
No, I don't have them in my backyard. You don't actually own them. They don't have a field where you go out there and feed them. They're down at Churchill Downs and in a barn, like in a little stall. And what I did find out, though, that the ownership part of it really isn't as cool as you'd think. I like it, but it feels like, for instance, you either need to pick the horse or feed the horse or clean up after the horse or ride the horse or train the horse. In my opinion, it feels like you're a part of it. I've been in coaching. Like, when the horse wins, there's an almost part like I actually now know how, like, Jimmy feels or an owner feels. Like, you're from above, you provide the resources, the funding, and you have the same frustrations that an owner has, but you don't have anything really to do with it. You're not the day-to-day part of it.
Yeah.
And that's hard when you're used to the day-to-day of it, because then you're, as an owner, you're sitting there when the horse isn't winning, and then you get a bill that says the horse isn't smiling in the winner's circle. I mean, hell, forget the dental work. You start looking at every bill and you start trying to figure out, like, why aren't we competitive? What is it? The cool thing that the trainer I've had, Matt Shire, is I've been in the business of that. So I understand that.
Yeah.
I'm not an irrational owner when it comes to when a horse doesn't perform. I go through it on a daily basis and a yearly basis. Do I like it? No. Do I understand it? Yes. But my wife would prefer that I don't get another horse. But I'm open for business. If there are any trainers out there, Matt's been slow to get me another horse. So I'm talking more Churchill. As much as I love Thistle Downs, I'm not really thinking the Thistle Down Racino. I'm not putting a little downer on Thistle Downs Racino, but I'm looking a little upgrade there. More towards Churchill.
Do you have a favorite for tomorrow?
I'm still working through it. A few days ago, I was on Renegade. I'm like, okay, I like the turn of foot.
Okay, there we have it, y'all. We just heard Coach Todd Monken. And the first thing I want to address is a lot of people don't know why Shedeur Sanders gave Todd Monken that horse head. But whenever I look into things and when I try to bring content, I like to dig into the weeds, get the root cause of things or find the root reason why things occur. I do that in my own personal life. But I said during this particular, when Todd Monken brought up, because they asked Lama and Ken asked Coach about the horse head. And if you look up the meaning of the horse head, whether you be in chat or Gemini, and basically, it tells you that it's a symbolism of leadership. And it shows the respect towards the recipient. Who was the recipient? The recipient was Coach Todd Monken. So Shedeur was offering a gift that was supposed to represent him respecting Coach Todd Monken. It also means like a horse that gallops. And what does a horse gallop do when it's running? It's running to win the race. It symbolizes that they have a common goal of wanting to strive and win in whatever they're trying to achieve in this particular season. It also, that horse represents freedom. And that's where the message was coming from. Shedeur Sanders giving that gift to Coach Todd Monken, and that horse represented freedom. Freedom for Shedeur Sanders. This is powerful, y'all. This is powerful. Shedeur feeling free that the previous year is gone and the new year is here. It says specifically it represents independent freedom and the drive to overcome obstacles. Overcome the obstacles of all he must endure in his personal, spiritual, in his life, trying to obtain a career in the NFL. So I just needed to tap into that. I try to give y'all some information that you may not know. I don't put rage bait on my channel. I don't get on here for clicks. I do this, particularly as a hobby, and I love sports. I love sports. And now y'all get to put a face with a name if you never tapped into my channel. I'm Double P, host of Premier Sports Talk. You can help this channel get pushed out in the YouTube algorithm by hitting that like button and dropping any of your comments. And most importantly, I just crossed the milestone of over 4,000 subscribers, y'all. My small little bitty channel hasn't even been here for a year. I started it July 4th night of last year. And look what the Most High will do. He will always do exceedingly and abundantly in our lives. I ain't know nothing about YouTube, wasn't tapped into it, and I'm learning every day. So every major content creator out here, you are mentoring me from afar with the good, the bad, and the indifferent things. But I'm loving it. And I thank you all who have supported and became a member, a support of me on Premier Sports Talk. I'm Double P. But do me a favor, bless that channel, and we're going to rock with it. I'm going to lean in with it. I'm going to get in where I fit in. But I love this interview with Coach Monken. They were very professional. Lama and Ken, they didn't go crazy. They didn't come out with rage bait. They did get to the QB question, but Coach Monken ain't been doing what he's doing and be naive. He said during the interview, he knew where this was going, but he answered all the questions in a political way. And he told us, again, sometimes one QB will get more reps on one day, and another QB get more reps on another day. They only been in the 3-day optional mini camp that they had. They don't get back out on the field until May 20th. Next weekend, all the people that got drafted, mandatory rookie camp starts this upcoming weekend. So I'll be going live, posting any live footage when that occurs. But yeah. So all I would like to say is, even though we hear clickbait things and it gets under our skin, the media is going to be media. The media is going to be media. And when it's slow and there's nothing going on, what do journalists and sports channels need? They need a story. And if they don't have a story, they're going to create a story. They got to make a living. It is what it is. They need a story. I posted a live video earlier this week how on Nightcap, Shannon Sharp, Ocho Cinco came on there and saying how Deshaun Watson was going to be QB1 even before Mary Kay opened up her mouth and said that sources said that Deshaun Watson got the lead because on the second day, he got first-team reps. Well, Shedeur got first-team reps on the first day. But Mary Kay never said who got the first-team reps on the third day. I would wager, if I was on a betting app, that it was Dillon Gabriel that got the first-team reps. But we're not hearing nothing about that. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know who you want to be your QB1. Let me know if you think that the Cleveland Browns actually have a chance to win the AFC North Division. They starting out with 4 quarterbacks. But which quarterback do you think may get traded to another team? Everybody want to put odds on Dillon Gabriel may not be there. But we might come up with a big shocker that maybe Deshaun after June 1st may not be there either. Don't be surprised. Last year, the Browns started out with 4 QBs. Kenny Pickett pulled his hamstring, got traded off to the Raiders. The previous coach, I'm not even giving him any credit. I'm not saying his name. The previous coach there didn't elevate Shedeur Sanders in his rightful place of being QB2. What did general manager Andrew Berry do? He shipped off Flacco to the Bengals. In the end, whatever the plan is for the Most High, it'll be fulfilled. I don't know how y'all feel about it, but it will be fulfilled. Y'all let me know. And again, I'm Double P, host of Premier Sports Talk. And I will see you when I see you on the next one. Okay. But like we saw last year, in the end, he prevailed. If you down for Deshaun Watson, put DW4. If you want Shedeur Sanders, put W2. And if you want Dillon Gabriel, put DG in the chat. Hey, I ain't going to tear one man down for another man to get lifted up. I'm not doing that. Because in the end, all I want to do is see all them young men succeed. I'm Double P, host of Premier Sports Talk, and I'm representing for Shedeur. Y'all have a blessed day. And thank you for supporting me. It's truly, truly appreciated.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Atlanta! Go, man, go! All right. Feeling good. Thank you all.